Hello, friends. Fresh news from sunny Poland. Everything is stable in Poland. Adult Poles are taking out their aggression on Ukrainian children because of their accent. The political elite is silent, and Jarosław Kaczynski is spreading fake news about Volhynia. Meanwhile, an everyday incident with items missing from baggage on a flight is turning into a major scandal. We're breaking down 3 new high-profile scandals. Friends, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you. So let's probably start with the most sensational one. Another attack on 2 Ukrainian children, 14 and 12 years old. Of course, go ahead and write in the comments right away that the Ukrainians provoked the adults into acting like idiots, complete idiots. All this happened in a park in Bydgoszcz. And this is not just some fringe incident. Adults twisted a child's arms, broke his drone, and threatened to drown him in the river. For his Ukrainian accent, of course. The Council of Ukraine in Gdansk has already intervened, and the police are searching for the attackers. Some might say they're spies. If you're a complete fool, you might write, "This is karma for Donbass coming back to you." So, but the spies, like they were looking for the coordinates of the train station to blow it up. Well, friends, when grown men and women start using physical force against other people's children over some everyday nonsense, like someone flying a drone or foreign speech in the park, this isn't just a scandal. This is just utter ignorance. No matter how tense the times are, taking out your anger on children, threatening them, that's hitting rock bottom. But why is the political elite silent? Karol Nawrocki, our dear president, is silent. Let's break down calmly and without emotion the 3 main reasons for this silence, and then what can we even do about it? Write in the comments if you know what to do about this. I'd be happy to read it. Look, officials, as a rule, always wait for experience. They wait for official investigation results, because making a loud statement before the criminals are caught means taking on political and legal risks. Silence is always safer for an official, and our Karol Nawrocki is very cautious. But first and foremost, it's fear of the electorate. Because the topic of migration is heated in Poland. If you condemn the attackers, you'll lose the votes of your right-wing electorate. If you ignore it, you'll get hit by human rights activists. As a result, the chosen strategy is to lie low and stay silent. Nothing is happening. You know, it's like I'll close my eyes and you'll all disappear. I just don't look at it, and that means there's no problem. Of course, there is a certain social fatigue. Yes, Poland is very tired of the war. Inflation, rising housing prices. Everyday problems create displaced aggression. If you don't know what that is, Google it. A lowlife doesn't go to fight the system. He takes out his anger on those who are weaker. So, and talk about historical grievances in the media only gives such people a false excuse. So what should we do about it? The attackers must be found and given actual prison time for violence and xenophobia. Yes, well, of course, considering the slowness of the Polish justice system, I think by next year there might be some kind of verdict. But that's not certain. That's it. But I believe that only strict laws and their enforcement in practice can cool down hotheads. A crime in the park is still a crime. I believe we shouldn't turn ordinary crime into a reason for an information war. And of course, it's the job of law enforcement. Patrolling parks and real protection of order are more important than any political declarations. But where can you find enough patrol officers? In general, the Bydgoszcz case is a very alarming symptom and not the first one. The president continues to remain silent, and everyday chauvinism has turned from isolated incidents into a systemic problem, unfortunately. Write in the comments how things are with your children at school and with their peers in general. Are the relationships normal or not so much? It will be very interesting to read. Next, we have a new round of political ballet. The leader of the PIS party, Jarosław Kaczynski, made a shocking statement about illegal excavations in eastern Galicia and the desecration of the remains of Volhynia victims, allegedly by grave robbers, of course Ukrainian ones. This, my friends, is an example of how a complex historical trauma turns into a convenient pretext for internal political infighting. Lack of evidence. Just lack of evidence. Kaczynski loudly claims there was grave desecration and that the Ukrainian authorities were turning a blind eye, but he didn't provide any specific facts, names, or locations. In serious historiography and investigation, this is called empty talk. If you have a fact, then present the evidence. Send a request to the prosecutor's office. If there is no evidence, it's just a banal attempt to play on the emotions of the electorate. Well, the more right-wing the electorate is, the less critical thinking they tend to have, and that's exactly what we'll see in the comments. In general, the issue of exhumation and commemorating the memory of the victims of Volhynia has not been resolved for years. For 8 years, while I was in Poland, since 2015, the Peace Party was in power, and for some reason, they never managed to establish a systematic bilateral dialogue with Kyiv on this issue. As soon as the current government established contact, real procedures began, and immediately a story was pushed into the public discourse that, oh, the graves of our ancestors are being desecrated by some black diggers. The main goal of this statement is to hijack the patriotic agenda, to devalue the diplomatic successes of the current Tusk leftist government, and of course, to mobilize the conservative electorate. This is exactly the same scheme that we have observed for years around the Smolensk catastrophe. Loud accusations, hints of conspiracy, a minimum of real facts, and a maximum of noise in the media. So what do we end up with? Historical memory and the commemoration of the deceased is a field that requires quiet, painstaking work. Archivists, archaeologists, and historians should be involved, not just shouting from the political podium. Instead of real research work, the media starts manufacturing sensational stories. And the first victim turns out to be the historical truth itself. That's Jarosław Kaczynski for you. Grandpa, it's time for him to retire, take care of his grandchildren, and plant cabbages. So moving on, friends, what else do we have? Another interesting story caught my attention. It's the story of a Ukrainian citizen, Halina Mazu, who reported damage to her belongings and theft from her luggage on the way from Warsaw to Halifax via Zurich. This is an example of how a routine incident in transport turns into some kind of media show. Well, let's give it 2 minutes. Let's watch the video. It's about a minute long.
We have to be here. That's it. She was standing there in a Ukrainian t-shirt like that.
Here, when I saw this, I got really angry.
No, that should go straight to the police at the airport.
Oh, new t-shirt.
To the police at the airport.
This was done with a knife. This was done with a knife. The whole suitcase was rummaged through.
You wouldn't have gotten dirty with anything here.
Because we don't have anything sharp here. There's absolutely nothing sharp. This is really sharp. Someone took it and cut right where it says glory to the heroes. Or where there's a blue and yellow heart. And this is what upsets me the most.
Well, friends, you have to agree that it's really unpleasant when your things are damaged by someone completely unknown. But to be fair, I have to say that at the moment there is no evidence of exactly where the luggage was opened. Because the route included 2 companies, LOT and Edelweiss Air, and at least 3 airports. Until the investigation by the police and the airlines is completed, any accusations, I think those are emotions, not facts. Of course, someone would like to blame the Polish border guards, or some Polish staff, like you dislike Ukraine so much that you went and ruined our t-shirts. But I think it's premature. It's premature to make such remarks, because the likelihood of that is about 50%. You know, like the joke about the blonde and the dinosaur. And for those who don't know it, I'll tell you about it now. They asked the blonde, tell us, please, our dear blonde, if you go outside, what are the chances that you'll meet a dinosaur? And she says, well, it's 50-50. And they ask, excuse me, how did you come up with 50-50? Well, either I'll meet one or I won't. It's the same here. Either the Poles could have done it or they couldn't have. But I believe that, yes, thefts at airports and break-ins are an age-old problem in international aviation. Yes, that happens, but guilt should be proven by camera footage and inspection reports, not by the number of likes and reposts on the internet. So, my friends, that's the news we have from sunny Poland. It only gets crazier from here. So, I promised to say hello to the welders and couriers, the working class, computer guys, carpenters, turners, locksmiths for eyebrows. Greetings to everyone. If I didn't mention your specialty or profession, sorry, write it in the comments and I'll include it in the next episode. For now, what I remembered are welders and couriers. So, that's all for now. See you next time.